What up? What up? This is Finance, Fitness, and Folk channel. We discuss finance, a little bit of fitness, talk about some folk. So, in today's episode, I'm going to discuss how I repaired my credit report. So, admin notes. Thanks again to all the subscribe to the channel. I endeavor to keep pushing these videos out. You leverage, the better yourselves. So, let's get into it. So, how did I repair my credit report? So, wording is everything sometimes when it comes to pushing out content and information. So think about it. I did not say that I increased my credit score. I said I repaired my credit report. However, repairing your credit report can potentially increase your credit score. So listen up, 'cause I'm about to drop some stuff to you that some folks may not know, and it may benefit you. Now, this is not financial advice. I'm just explaining what I did personally to repair my credit report or fix it. Either, however you want to say it. So this is doing personal research, talking to folks, reading books, reading articles, because, excuse me, at one point I had, my credit wasn't that great, put it that way, right? But I didn't have the money to pay debt off. So I'm like, well, I don't have the money to pay the debt off right now. So what can I do in the interim to put myself in a better position so when I do have the money to pay the debt off, I'm able to to basically do it seamlessly and not have all these issues when it comes to me taking care of my responsibilities and paying my debt off and then raise my credit score, right? So the first thing I did was I pulled all three of my credit reports. So I went to this was some years ago, but if you Google annualcreditreport.com or freecreditreport.com, it should bring a website up where you can pull all three of your credit reports. And by law, they have to give you one for free once a year, right? So the three credit reports, the three credit reports that I pulled were the three companies that are used in America for credit reports, and that's Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. Now, as a side note, the main one that's used, from what I can tell, when it comes to banks that they're going to finance a car for you, they're going to finance a mortgage for you, they're going to give you a business loan or something real big when it comes to them lending you money. They normally use your Experian credit report. Now, I'm not exactly sure why that is, but I've seen that plenty of times where when folks wanted to do something like that, the bank normally pull the Experian one. That's not to say Equifax and TransUnion is not important to pull and fix, because I'm gonna get into that in a little bit later on in this video. So not to belabor the time, I'm gonna go over these things real quick. You can rewind the video back as much you please, but I want to make sure that I speak this clearly so you guys can understand. So the first thing I did was I verified my information on the credit report, my personal information, meaning that I checked my name, make sure it was spelled right, and I also checked the addresses, make sure they were current. This is one of the things that you need to understand when it comes to businesses that are trying to get debt from you that you haven't paid back, right? They normally use your name and your address to associate you with that particular bill or that particular debt you have with them, right? So my name was spelled out a couple of times differently on my credit report. It wasn't misspelled, but actually, I'm sorry. Yes, it was, because my first name was misspelled on one of the credit reports. And some of your credit reports you pull, they may have your name listed multiple times differently, meaning that one credit report may have your name listed as first, middle initial, last name. Then right under that, they may list just your first name, just your last name. Then some reports may list, same report may list your name, your first name, your full middle name, and your last name, right? And these are the ways that these creditors are able to associate you with that particular debt. So what I did was I had all those other names removed, and I only had the name that I wanted listed on my credit report. Whether it be my first or last name, first, middle, initial, last name, whatever, right? And then I also went and looked at my addresses. Now, me being in the military previously, I had 15 different addresses on my credit report, not to include the address of my house that I'm in right now, because they listed all the places I got deployed at, all my military school locations, everything. Anywhere that I was at where I had a bill coming to, they listed it on my credit report. And once again, this is how these creditors are able to associate you with that particular debt. So if you remove all of those addresses, then there's potential that you may not owe that particular debt to them. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is not for me to say you need to avoid debt. Not saying that at all. I'm just saying that, what's the reason for you to have all those different addresses on your credit report when you only are in one current address, right? You're not in those addresses anymore. You've moved from them, right? So there's no reason for them to be there. And this is another reason why you should have your name corrected and those addresses removed from your credit report. As a rule of thumb, a lot of folks know that after 7 years, normally your debt's supposed to fall off your credit report. Even if you haven't paid it, it should fall off, right? But the problem is that these creditors or the company that you have the debt with, they still have the debt you owe to them still in their system. So there's nothing illegal for them to pull your credit report again and find your name and find your address and reassociate that debt with you. So even though that debt fell off, at the 7 year mark, there's nothing illegal that binds them from putting the debt back on your credit report based off of your name and your address. So if you have any debt that's been, that fell off 7 years ago, removing those extra addresses and removing those extra names you have in your credit report could potentially save you from actually having those creditors come back to you and try to get that debt from you, right? So that's one tidbit of it. So personal information, make sure that stuff is straight. So the next thing I did was I verified every single debt that I had on my credit report. There was some debts up there that I did not recognize. And here's the thing. So, and I want to explain this a little bit. I want to explain this in layman's terms so folks can understand what I'm saying. So let's say you have a debt with Walmart. I'm not saying that Walmart will sue you or anything like that, but I'm just saying, let's say you had a debt with Walmart, right? And the debt was charged off, meaning that, you had a debt with them and you didn't pay it. And then after 120 days, they cut their losses and they say, you know what, this person's not going to pay. So we're just going to charge it off. So it's going to say charge off in your credit report. What Walmart would do is they would hire a third party, and that third party would come after you for the debt, right? So it's not Walmart. They're just acting on behalf of Walmart to try to get the debt from you, right? So let's say you go to your credit report and you see a third party you don't recognize, right? So what you do is you write the credit report company, whether it be Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion, a dispute letter, right? Dispute, meaning that you're basically challenging the validity of the debt you have, right? So let's say that the third party was called T-Bone, right? they acted in the best interest of Walmart to get this debt from you that you didn't pay them. You didn't pay Walmart, right? And T-Bone is not a company you ever heard of before. So you can actually write a dispute letter and tell Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion and tell them, hey, I don't know who T-Bone is. You know what I'm saying? I don't recognize this debt. So basically what T-Bone has to do, you have to go back to Walmart and verify the debt belongs to you. And if they can verify it, then that's fine. It'll stay in your credit report. If they can't verify, if they cannot verify it, then the debt falls off. Legally, they have to do that, right? So that's one way for you to verify your debt. I would say verify all your debt. Even if you think that it belongs to you, still verify it, because you have some situations where you have debt that you may not supposed to pay back, right? Company may have folded, and who you gonna pay? You're gonna pay the original company you owe the debt to, or you're gonna pay the third party. Third party doesn't need it. Well, they make money off of getting the money from you, you know what I'm saying? But you're supposed to be paying the original company that you had a debt with, if that making any sense, right? So I would say verify all your debt. And like I said, you have to write a dispute letter. Now, I went online, I found some templates for a dispute letter. I have one that I have typed up pretty well. So if you want a copy of that dispute letter, you can email me at financefitnessandfolk@gmail.com. financefitnessandfolk@gmail.com. And it's not gonna be free. I'm sorry, folks. I'm sorry. It's not gonna be free 99. It's gonna be about $15 for you to get it from me. Now, here's the thing when it comes to that, right? So I do understand that, that free 99 is a good thing for everybody, right? But one thing I've learned in life, that a lot of times when you pay for something, you are more susceptible to move forward with what you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Nobody cares about anything that's free. But when you actually paying your hard-earned money to get something, it's something in the brain that triggers, and it's like, you know what? I paid for this. I need to get my money's worth, right? So that's the reason why I'm charging for that template. But if you want to do your own research and get your template yourself, you can. You know what I'm saying? My template is no different than any other template that's out there, right? But what I have found in my old age, that folks can be very lazy when it comes to certain things, right? That's the reason why folks pay for services, because they don't want to do things themselves, right? I did this myself, you know what I'm saying? Nobody helped me with this. I did this all by myself. But if you're lazy, not talking bad about you, but if you're lazy and you don't want to deal with trying to get that letter done for you or the template, then I can send it to you, but it's gonna come with a fee, right? So in any case, going back to what I was saying. So real quick. So after I wrote the dispute letter, what I did was I actually sent it to all three of them credit bureaus certified mail. So they had to sign for it, and I made sure that they was able to get that letter and it not be left in the mail, right? So I sent all three of those letters certified mail. I listed on that letter that I wanted my name corrected on my credit report. I wanted all those addresses removed, the old ones, and I wanted them to verify every single debt that was on my credit report. And what happened was, I want to say about a week later, Experian emailed me, and they emailed me some digital form that basically what they did was they actually line for line listed all my debt, and they had me to verify, like click a check mark and say, hey, does this belong to you? Or they came back and said, you know what, we contacted this third party, and this third party has no clue where this debt came from, so we're removing it. Y'all, when I did that, within, I want to say about 2 months, my credit score raised about 60 points because of that. I had so much debt removed, and I had so many things corrected that, I mean, basically what they were saying is that my credit score shouldn't have been that low because there was some debt up there that was not valid. You know, there was no reason why the debt should have been up there, right? So that's the way that I fixed my credit report. Now you can go back, like I said, you can rewind the video and listen to it again. But that's how I fixed my credit report. That's how I repaired my credit report. So take it with a grain of salt. You know, like I said, it's not financial advice, but that's the way that I was able to repair what was wrong with my credit report. And you need to do this, y'all. You need to do this because there's no reason for you to pay debt if you don't have to pay into debt. You know, each one teach one. You know what I'm saying? Like, put yourself in the best position, because if you don't have the money to pay debt off, then the very least you can do is to pull your free credit report, look at your credit report, see if anything's wrong, get it verified, and then once you're able to have the money to pay your debt off, then you'll be in a better position to pay those debts off. So, like I said, it's a channel about finance, fitness, and folk. Finance being number one. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to put this video back out there. I had made this video months ago, maybe like 9 or 10 months ago, explaining this. But, you know, once again, folks are lazy, you know what I'm saying? And I know a lot of folks not going to go back that far to find that video. Plus, I think I barely had 10 subscribers when I made that video. So I thought it was beneficial to the channel for me to put that video, push this information back out to you guys. So I hope it helps you. And once again, I endeavor to keep pushing the video out, give you leverage to better yourselves. Finance, fitness, and folk. Triple F, I'm gone.